Hey, what's up, my friends? Jason Woodland here, back again with Always the Journey TV. This time we are on episode number 34. Thank you so much for joining us. Sincerely appreciate you dedicating your time to watching these interviews and learning more about others within the community. The reason why we call this Always the Journey TV is that it is a hybrid of my podcast, Always the Journey, and this is all about trying to find out what that journey was of the person beforehand and what they're doing now within their business, their side hustle, their job, their art, their event spaces, whatever else it is that they're doing. And it's about shining light more on people within the community. So if you find a product or service that you're in need of, definitely hit up someone that's been on the show. These are amazing people. So today's small business shout out is to Veggie House. It's not the Veggie House that you may have known that was located up in the Mill Creek area, but this is a really great place for vegan food, and they're located at 52 East, 1700 South in South Salt Lake, Utah. So today I'm ultra excited about introducing you to a very good friend who has got an amazing background, ultra talented, and also he's done a lot of things that you may not have even realized. So today's interviewee is Dave Styer. And if you didn't know, he was actually the third runner-up for Sexiest Graphic Designer Alive. That's a pretty amazing feat, third runner-up. He's also rescued a cat and a fireman from a burning building thrice. He once made a horse faint in Costa Rica. He loves tennis, but at his age needs to be careful of his knees. And after mastering Italian, he became an international super spy. Right now, he's yachting across the Mediterranean, stealing classified information and sipping dry martinis. Okay. This has been a little bit exaggerated, but just a little bit. But he can create your logo, manipulate your photo, assist with your website, and create anything visually you'd like with the technology at his disposal. He's nothing more than a Utah-based graphic designer who doesn't mind a little bit of pineapple on his pizza. So, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce my main man, Dave Styer. What's happening?
Hello, Jason. How are you?
I'm doing unbelievable, man. What's going on with you?
Oh, just living the Corona life.
Yes, exactly. And unfortunately, but you know what? I'm optimistic for the future. Things are going to get better in 2021.
That's what I like about you, man. You're optimistic. I take all of your optimism and try to incorporate it into my life.
Nice, dude. I love it. So you've got a lot of stuff going on, and we want to learn a little bit more about what that looks like. So I wanted to learn right out of the gates, though, what got you interested and what was your original inspiration of getting involved in graphic design work all to begin with?
Well, it must have been 95 or 96. I was a computer technician. I worked on Macs, and they would always send us free copies of Photoshop, the earliest versions of Photoshop and Illustrator and so on. In fact, I think Illustrator came much later than Photoshop, but I was in a band, of course, right? We all dabbled.
Yep.
And I primarily took that free program and would make flyers for our shows. And that's how it all got started. I didn't go to school. I've learned everything from YouTube. I mean, well, over the years, anything that you need to know now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How do I manipulate this photo to do this? Take the red out of somebody's face, so on. Everything that I've learned, I've taught myself.
That is awesome. So just for fun, tell us a little bit about your band and tell us about some of the types of flyers that you were putting together back then.
Wow. So it was 95 or 96. Like I said, we all know what that typical 90s sound was. For me, it wasn't hardcore. It was a noise rock is what it's called. Bands like the Jesus Lizard were very influential to myself. And so that was kind of the path that we drove down. And the flyers that I would make, I remember one in particular sitting in my office at work where, I shouldn't have been making a flyer, but I was. And using an owl as the main image and trying to emulate that cut and paste sort of flyer style that we had all seen from Bad Brains to anything from DC, trying to copy and emulate that.
That's awesome. I remember when we had a fanzine, a hardcore music fanzine back in the 90s, and I remember spending literally like 7 hours at a time at the Kinko's, tearing pieces apart and pasting it into a format and then Xerox copying. It was just, good times for sure.
I still think that's the coolest flyer around.
Yeah, I bet, man. That is awesome. So obviously, I mean, you're extremely well versed in your craft. You've been doing this for 25 years. What got you? What moved you into your position that you're at now for your day job, creative director at FanX? I mean, that's a big deal. Tell me a little bit more about that path.
Well, that was kind of luck of the draw, being in the right place at the right time. My first design gig was designing T-shirts for the outdoor industry. Let's say you go to Snowbird or any ski destination. The T-shirts that you see in the shop, this place that I made or that I worked for, made those shirts and designed those shirts. So rafting, climbing, boating, you name it. And so I had got laid off. It was right after the crash. Was it 2008? The economic crash was 2008, and I got laid off. And somebody messaged me. Of course, I did the boo-hoo on Facebook. Oh, woe was me. Anybody got any leads? Somebody said, well, at the time it wasn't called FanX. It's something that I'm not legally allowed to say anymore.
Yeah.
It was the local comic convention was hiring for an assistant graphic designer, and I applied for that job. And because of my love of all things geek, I got that job, and I learned a lot over the next few years. I really didn't play with Photoshop that much at that time. I was strictly an Illustrator guy, and the creative director at the time just showed me everything, and he had to leave, and so I got pushed up. So it's been 3 years now that I've been the creative director at FanX.
Wow. But you've been there for, I mean, how long now has that been? I mean, it's
been 8 years now.
8 years total. Wow. I mean, wow. And your business during the day, of course, that's been heavily impacted because of the situation at hand.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. As we all know, all events dried up. Everything dried up. And so, I have to give a shout out to my boss, Dan Farr. That guy's got my, I don't even know the words. He's just kept me employed, kept me busy, and God bless him.
That's awesome.
He didn't have to, he could have put us on furlough or laid us off at any time, but he didn't do that.
Wow, that is really cool. I had the opportunity to meet him a couple of times, and he does seem like a stand-up guy. So, yeah, definitely shout out to him. That is really cool.
He's an amazing guy.
That's awesome. I love hearing that, especially with all these wild transitions that we've all seen throughout this year. So very, very good stuff. And can you tell us a little bit more about your work within FanX and what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis, like during normal times, let's say?
Well, let's say Superman or Batman, the person that plays that person is going to be a guest at our show. I'll compile a visual graphic showcasing everything that they've done, as well as a headshot, make it as pretty as possible because it has to go back to that person for their approval, yay or nay. Aside from that, really, aside from the web design of the website itself, everything that you see visually, from video to a bus driving by or a train, that was one of the hardest things that I've ever done, but creating graphics for everything that you see for that show. And we work really hard at promoting that show visually to a standard that I've kind of set for myself, right? And we want to try to stand apart from other shows because there's a million. Just you name it. Like there's stickers, there's t-shirts, there's billboards, there's bags, there's cups, there's millions of different things that I do for this particular show, this event.
Dude, that is seriously magnificent. I love that. That is so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, your art literally has touched tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
And I'm being pessimistic by saying tens of thousands. It's easily hundreds of thousands and most likely millions, because obviously you guys are getting a lot of clicks through on the website. Mm-hmm. Your show is unbelievably successful. I mean, so cool. I mean, I just can't wait until we see that the whole system bounce back and see your stuff in effect again.
Yeah, I can't wait either.
I bet, dude. Well, I'm extremely proud of you as a friend, and I'm proud of the work you do and what you're doing within the community, and the art that you're putting out there is absolutely amazing. Thank you very much for sharing that part with us. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit more, on your side hustle. You're doing some of these same things for individuals and businesses that reach out to you and need your help as well. Am I correct in saying so?
Yep. I'm freelance. So if you need a logo, if you need a billboard, if you need a wedding card, a wedding invitation, I mean, I have the skill set now to give you whatever it is that you need, whether it be a train. Maybe you want a train wrap. Maybe you want to wrap on your car. You'd have to 3D model the car and so on and so forth. But anything that you want, I feel positive that within a couple of revisions back and forth between the client, that I could give that to them.
Well, and I know for a fact you can, because I've had you do some work for me before, and that postcard was killer. I mean, I had people being like, "Oh man, like this thing looks like you had a team of people like working on this thing," and I'm like, "Well, my man Dave is like a team of people." Because he's so
no, man, it was you and I. We were a team.
There you go. I like that. That's cool. So let's talk a little bit more in detail about some of those services. Is there such thing as a job that's too small, or is there such thing as a job that's too big in your freelance position?
No, there isn't anything too small, but I have set a minimum. So it's like if you went to the tattoo shop and you got the tiniest little tattoo, it's still going to cost you $300, right? There's setup and tear down. There's a little bit of back and forth that you have to do with the client just to even know what it is that they want, which is work.
Yeah.
Right. And so, no, nothing too small, I haven't got anything too big or out of my scope yet.
Okay. So, and then do you do a consultation as well? Like, let's say someone comes to you and they're like, "Dave, I've got some branding things that I want to do, but I'm not really sure what direction to take it. Can you help them with some ideas on, hey, you know what, maybe this piece might be a good idea, or this, or what are your thoughts there?"
What I like to do when they're not necessarily sure of what they want, I want them to send me what we call a vision board. And that's just whether it be something that they've photoshopped together on their own, but a bunch of different pictures of things that they like logos that they like, t-shirts that they like, whatever it may be. And then try to stylize on the first pass, what they want, incorporating as much of that as possible artistically, right? Sometimes some things aren't going to work well with other things. But what I generally try to do is send them back 3 to 4 choices, so I'll work for a day or two, try to give them three to four options, then revise one option. Oh, I like that. That's the direction I want to go. And then continually work with that client until they get what they want.
Okay, perfect. So just to sort of recap here, you can do logos, you can do, billboard, all kinds of branding things. You can obviously build out websites, right?
That's not, that might be one of those things that might shoot over my head. I'm sure I could figure it out, but I don't have the expertise necessary. I could give you the parts.
Yeah, cool.
But I don't have the expertise at this time. Aside from WordPress, sure, I could do that.
Sure.
But if you wanted coding, I haven't quite YouTubed that yet.
Cool, but you can provide all the artwork for someone's website.
Sure.
Okay, cool. And then let's say someone comes to you and they say, I've already got a logo, but I need some ideas for further branding. Is that something that you could do? You could sit down and be like, okay, cool. Let's maybe take a look at, maybe building out a Facebook ad. Maybe if you want to run a billboard, those types of things.
Sure. If you want to run ads, Google ads, any web ads, I'm really versed in. I could do that. They can be animated. They could be short little movies.
Okay.
So on. Yeah, of course I could do that. Packaging.
Okay.
T-shirt design. I'm trying to think off the top of my head all of the branding things that you've done, but it's really important if you're a business, and you're on Instagram or your social marketing,
mm-hmm.
that your logo is included on every single piece of baloney that you're shooting out there to the world for them to hit thumbs up or heart,
That's awesome.
And that's something that I do too. Hey, Dave, we want to use this picture in our social media. Can you slap our logo on it? Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. And the thing is, I think that's important to really dive in on a little bit too, is that if someone does want, let's say, a car wrap, or if they want to run an ad on one of the tracks trains or something like that, that the build of the artwork is got to be more specific. And that's something you can do and specialize in because you've done that for FanX, right?
Right.
Okay,
right.
Cool. And of course, running a billboard, you can't just send them just a normal piece of art, because that art has to be blown up, 500 times, let's say.
Yeah, it has to meet certain specifications, and that's my job. My job is to meet those specs and guidelines from the third party. And that's one thing that I run into a lot is, hey, Dave, could you design this T-shirt for me? Sure, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Or this billboard. But that's where my job ends.
Yeah.
Once you receive that piece of artwork, it's now your job to locate the printing services. If you need a referral, I could give you that. But I can't provide you with the physical T-shirt or sign or poster or whatever it is that you wanted.
Yes, that makes good sense. So you'll be able to give them the art that will be the exact thing that they can send to the printer or the billboard company or whoever else, and it'll be to the exact specifications they need it. But yeah, right. You're not out there printing the T-shirts and the pants and the scarves and all that stuff. You're doing all of the specialty artwork around it. Exactly. Perfect. What geographic locations would you say that you typically cover in your freelance work?
Salt Lake, Utah. But I've done art for people as far away as Dubai.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, typically your kind of business could go international, but obviously we always have our sort of niches, so to speak, of areas that we really like to focus in. But you've obviously had experience all around the world then. That's pretty cool.
Right.
Nice. Right. All right, good. So tell us a little bit more on a granular level. Who makes your perfect client, so to speak? Like, who would make the best referral? So if someone's watching this, what I'm trying to do is make it so the person that is watching this interview can say, that sparked, Dave is my guy. Like, I need Dave to do this thing. So who is your perfect referral?
Ideally, the perfect client for me has been someone who knows what they want, meaning they want a logo, they want this included. It doesn't, excuse me, it doesn't need to include the artistic aspect of it. That's my job. But if you want a logo, you want someone who knows, hey, here's my vision board. Here are the things that I like. Because it does slow down the process, right? For them to not have that initially, because they come to me, they want a logo in 5 days. Okay, we could do that, but we're slowing it down by a day by not having any idea of what it is that you want.
Yeah. Okay, good. That helps me because really what that person needs to have is, okay, Dave, you're my guy. We've sort of solidified that idea. I want to build a flyering campaign, and I want it to sort of look like this and this approximately. Then you take that this and this approximately and build the artwork and hit the ground running.
Right.
Okay, cool. And same thing with the logo design, right? If someone comes to you, obviously you can help them, with that vision boarding concept, but you're really looking for that person that says, Dave, I've got this and this as an idea for the logo. Can you help me sort of like hash it out a little bit? And then you can sort of hit that ground running again, coming up with a few different concepts.
I can think of a perfect client off the top of my head. I recently had done some work for a local company. His name's Joshua Asher. You might know him.
Absolutely.
He's doing a company now called Epic Electric, and he's an electrician.
Yep.
And
shout out to Josh.
Yep. Shout out to Josh. And he came to me with, 5 options. Hey, we really like this, and this. And within a couple of days, going back and forth, we were able to come up with something done that he uses now.
Nice. Okay, cool. And that also, that obviously cuts down the amount of time that it's going to take to put that thing together. So if someone is coming to you on a rush job, because everybody's got a rush job, right?
Right.
Everybody needs the thing in 48 hours.
Right. Well, and that's something that I think is pretty funny about graphic design, right? They think that their cousin who's got a subscription to Adobe can create a good logo. Well, there's a lot that goes into it, right? You need to think about whether or not you want it to be a circle, a square. And I work with a lot of logos, and I know that a big long logo has to be shrunk way down in order to be incorporated with half a dozen other logos. Let's say you're a sponsor of an event and we have to put our logo here. You want something that's going to take up a bunch of real estate, yet is still very readable. So a big long one just doesn't work.
And also, if it's too packed up with too much within it.
Too elaborate, right? Like you want to stick to 2 to 3 colors at the most, I would say. And that's another thing that I really like from clients is what's your palette? Like your green room, we know that you're going to switch to gray. So if you have a couple of color choices, there you go. That really helps.
Okay, that's very good to know. And then also I want to ask, regarding the logo, I'm assuming that you also provide to them all of the different formats of that logo that they're going to need into the future, right?
Yep, you'll generally receive a packet from me once I'm done. I'm going to send you, we've all agreed on everything. I'm going to send you a low res, excuse me, a low res version.
Mm-hmm.
And once I get paid, then I'll send you a packet with probably a dozen different formats for anyone that's going to need it. Nice.
Okay. And that's extremely important to know too, is that sometimes when people go online and they find this sort of cheap logo for the, $35 or something like that.
Fiverr.
Yeah. They're probably going to get just one version of that logo, which means that if they need to blow it up at all, it's going to kill the resolution. Or if
Right.
they need to make it smaller, it's going to hurt the resolution. Or if they need to have a transparent copy, they're not going to have one. And in some cases, depending on how much you pay, of course, you can get that. But it's important that you're working with someone who has a very detailed understanding of not only how to build the logo the right way, but also how to make sure that you get the entire suite of formats. And that's
Right.
what you do for people.
Absolutely everything that they're going to need. Now, in the most cases, the client isn't going to know that they need a vector file when they send it off to print.
Right.
So that's my job, to include the vector file and say, vector file for print, so that they know that this is the logo that needs to go to anyone who's going to use it outside of the client's periphery.
Yes, very good point. And the other thing too is that you helped me with on a postcard flyer that I did a while back, is that you also make sure that the bleed, the outline is on point. So when you send it, your logo doesn't fall off the print or something along those lines.
And that's a confusing thing. Like, they'll see their postcard and see that there's a half an inch of blue off to all the edges, and their logos are way in further. But that's for the printer. They're going to cut that off so that you get your 4x6 postcard. And that's where my expertise comes into play. Is like, if I have to, I'll reach out to the printing party. Okay, where are you going to get it printed? How much bleed do you need? Lots of printing companies need different, but the standard is a 1/4 inch.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Good. Okay, so out of the entire repertoire of services that you can provide, what would you say are the top 2 things that you really, really love working with people on, and that that you'd love to spend the bulk of your time with?
I really enjoy helping people with their logos. I mean, this is something that their brand or their company is going to be known for until they decide to rebrand. Who knows? Maybe they'll never rebrand. And so every time I drive by or see Epic Electric's van drive by, it's exciting to know that I made that for them.
Yeah, that is extremely exciting. Okay, so logos are that's the type of business you really love about your business and all, and you want to have more people talking to you about their logos. So anybody watching this, if you've got a logo need, talk to Dave straight up.
I'm your man.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so the person that wants to get a logo done, how do they get a hold of you?
You can reach me at davestyer@gmail.com. Pretty easy. It's my name.
Awesome. And the thing is that every time I've ever had correspondence with you via Gmail or via your email, you're always really good at getting back to people in a timely fashion. And
that's what I do. I sit in front of a box all day. And so I'll see that email. You send me an email, I'll get right back to you.
Nice. Okay, good. So the people that are needing a logo, when they reach out to you, they know that they're going to get prompt service, they're going to get professional service, and especially from someone who's been able to do this for a multi-million-dollar organization with every star under the sun.
Almost.
Literally and figuratively. That's so cool, man. So, okay, good. We've got your path. We've got your what you do for your day job, what you do for your freelance work. How do people get a hold of you? What is your passion? You want to help people with their logos because you're talking about an extension of someone's personality within their logo too.
That's exactly right.
So, and you get to have your hand in that. I love that. That's way cool.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Good. So, Dave, as we move to a wrap up, I like to ask, what is one of your favorite songs or favorite quotes or both?
Well, going back to what we talked about initially, I was very struck by a man named David Yao, who's the lead singer of a band called Jesus Lizard. When I was 20, 21, I idolized that guy, and his band kind of formed the direction I wanted to take musically for the next 25 years and to this day. And the song that I enjoy the most of the Jesus Lizard is Mouth Breather.
You know, I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that. I'll have to check it out.
You might like it, knowing your taste in music.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you sharing that for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite quotes that you want to share, or just want to stick with the song?
You know, there's so many. Nothing I can think of off the top of my head.
Dude, it's tough, man. And it's
It is.
question, you know, it's like all these other questions are actually somewhat easy, but when it comes to like our favorite songs and our favorite quotes, because there's so many great things out there, it's tough to really narrow it down, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Most definitely.
Cool. Well, is there anything else that you feel like you'd like to share about your freelance business, or do you feel like that we touched on everything?
I think we did a really good job, but listen, it's not limited to logos, everybody. Whatever you want, whatever you can dream, I can provide you, given enough time.
Absolutely. So, yeah, flyers, buses, car wraps, train wraps, flyers. I think I touched on flyers already. You want to logo your private jet? You talk to Dave.
Yep, we could do that.
Like, seriously, like you've got the wings on your jet. You want to hook it up? You talk to Dave first.
And a way better deal. Mention you saw me here. We'll cut a deal.
There you go. I like that. Dave, this has been a sincere pleasure having you on the show. I really appreciate it.
Listen, thank you so much. And I wanted to tell you how amazing it is that you're doing this for our 801-435 community. I think it's so phenomenal. And I've learned a bunch by watching your shows. There's lots of people who do things that I had no idea.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate you hearing that. That was the whole goal, is just to try to bring as much spotlight on all my freaking amazing, awesome people that I love to pieces. And I wish I could just give you a big fat hug right now.
I know. I wish we were sitting over a coffee right now.
Dude, that would be amazing. And it's going to be amazing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's what we got to say, is it's going to be amazing.
Give us that vaccine.
Tea and coffee, right?
That's right.
Awesome, brother. Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to have you hang tight just a few moments in the green room while I wrap up the show, and then we'll talk for a few more moments.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. Talk to you in a sec. Boom. So there you have it. Dave Styer is in the house. This guy is wildly talented. Definitely reach out to him. Not only logos, but he's phenomenal at logos. So if you need all the things we were talking about, you want to wrap your car, he can figure out all the artwork for it. He can do flyers. He can do, airplanes. He can do buses. He can do, and just all the things. If you just need to have some ideas for it, definitely reach out to him as well, because he can help you brainstorm some of those ideas and figure out what might be that really good marketing method for your logo and your artwork. So definitely reach out to him. You've got his email address right here, davestyer@gmail.com. Not only is he phenomenally talented, but he's a stand-up guy. Like, you got to get to know this guy anyway. So, and as always, please throw us a thumbs up on the video if you like the content. Throw us a comment if you've got a question. And if there's something that we didn't cover within this and you're wondering if Dave can handle it, ask the question. Let's find out, because both of us will jump in the comments and answer the question for you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It would be a sincere pleasure to have you on as a subscriber. I sincerely appreciate that. And you know what? Thank you so much for your time. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. And you have an amazing rest of your week, and take care of yourself.